My mother-in-law wanted to see me give birth. I was 8 months pregnant when Teresa started calling me every single night. At first, I thought it was sweet. She'd ask how I was feeling, if the baby was kicking, normal stuff. But then the questions got weird. So, have you thought about who's going to be in the room with you? I told her probably just my husband, Dean, and maybe my best friend, Jenna. She got quiet for a second, then laughed like I'd made a joke. Oh, honey, I'll be there too, obviously. I birthed 3 babies. I know exactly what you'll need. I didn't know what to say, so I just changed the subject. The next week, she called again. I've been thinking about positioning. Do you want me on your left side or your right? I need to know so I can plan. Plan what? Well, I'm bringing my camera and I want good lighting for the photos. Also, I found my massage oils from when I had Dean. They're organic. I felt my stomach drop. I told Dean about it that night while we were eating leftover pizza on the couch. He barely looked up from his phone. She's just excited. It's her first grandchild. Dean, she's talking about being in the delivery room. I didn't invite her. Just let her feel included. She'll calm down, but she didn't calm down. A week later, I'm scrolling through Facebook, and I see Teresa posted a whole paragraph about how blessed she is that I'm letting her help deliver her grandson. Letting her like it was already decided. The post had 200 likes. Her friends were commenting stuff like how beautiful and what a special bond. I called her immediately. Teresa, I saw your post. I never said you could be in the room. She sighed like I was difficult. Callie, the post is already up. Everyone's seen it. My sister's driving 4 hours to be at the hospital that day. You can't just embarrass me like this now. I'm not trying to embarrass you. This is what family does. We show up for each other. Don't be selfish. I hung up, I was shaking. Dean said I was overreacting. His mom had boundary issues, but she meant well. I told him if he didn't back me up on this, I'd handle it myself. So I made a plan. My due date was April 9th, 2 weeks before. I told Teresa and the whole family that I'd be delivering at St. Mark's Hospital downtown. I even sent her the address. I told her visiting hours and where to park. But the real plan was different. I'd already talked to my midwife about delivering at a birthing center 30 minutes away in the next town over. It was small, quiet, and private. Only Dean, Jenna, and the midwife would know. On April 9th, my water broke at 6 in the morning. I texted Teresa. It's happening. Heading to St. Mark's now. Then Dean and I drove the opposite direction. Labor was long, 14 hours. I threw up twice, cried a lot, and at one point told Dean I was never doing this again. But when I finally heard my son cry, none of it mattered. He was perfect. Tiny fingers, dark hair, healthy lungs. Jenna took photos of us. Dean cried. I felt like my body had been through a war, but I was so happy. Then 2 hours later, my phone started blowing up. Teresa had gone to St. Mark's Hospital with Dean's aunt, his 2 cousins, and a whole bag of decorations. She'd marched up to the maternity ward and demanded to see me. They told her no one by that name was registered. She insisted they were wrong. She showed them the texts. She started yelling. Security escorted her out. She sat in the parking lot and filmed herself crying on Facebook Live. They lied to me. They robbed me of meeting my grandson. I'll never forgive this. Dean's phone started ringing. His aunt, his dad, his brother, everyone saying we were cruel, that we humiliated Teresa, that this was unforgivable. Dean looked at me holding our son, still exhausted and sore, and whispered, maybe we should have just let her come. Something in me snapped. I stared at him for a long moment, then quietly said, get out. He blinked, confused. What? Get out of this room. Right now. He tried to backtrack, saying his mom had been calling nonstop and he just felt bad. That's when Jenna's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, her face going pale. Callie, she said slowly, Teresa just posted your exact room number at the birthing center. Someone must have told her where we actually are. My blood went cold. How would she? Dean's face gave it away. The guilt. The panic. You told her, I said. It wasn't a question. He started stammering excuses, but I could barely hear him over the sound of my heart pounding. Jenna grabbed my arm. She's 20 minutes out, according to her post. She's bringing everyone. They're on their way right now. I looked at Dean standing there with his phone in his hand and his face doing that thing where he knew he messed up but was still trying to figure out how to make it my fault somehow. The room smelled like antiseptic and that weird hospital air that's too clean. My son was asleep on my chest, this tiny perfect thing that had just come into the world 2 hours ago. And my husband had just told his mother exactly where to find us. When did you tell her? I asked. My voice came out flat. Dean rubbed his face. About an hour ago. She was hysterical, Callie. She was in the St. Mark's parking lot sobbing on the phone and you just what? Decided that your mom's feelings mattered more than what I wanted for my own birth? Our birth, he said. Our son. I stared at him. Get out. Callie, come on, get out before she gets here. I need to figure out what to do. And I can't think with you standing there making excuses. Jenna was already on her phone, talking to someone at the front desk. Her voice was low and urgent. My midwife, Patricia, had stepped out to get paperwork, but I could hear her sensible shoes squeaking back down the hallway. She pushed through the door with this concerned look on her face. Everything okay in here? Jenna filled her in quickly. Patricia's expression went from concerned to professionally pissed off in about 3 seconds. She turned to Dean. "Did you give out private patient information?" "She's my mother," Dean said defensively. "That doesn't matter. This is a HIPAA violation if you got that information from staff, and even if you didn't, your wife has the right to control who's present during her recovery." Patricia looked at me. "What do you want to do, Callie? I don't want her here. Any of them. Then they won't get past the front desk." She pulled out her phone and started typing rapidly. "I'm updating security right now with names and photos if you have them." Jenna was already pulling up Teresa's Facebook profile. "Here, that's her. And here's the aunt. The cousins Patricia screenshotted everything. Done. They won't get through. This facility takes patient privacy very seriously." Dean was pacing now, his hands in his hair. "You're making this so much worse." "She's going to be even more upset." "Good," I said. "Maybe she'll learn that she can't steamroll people into doing what she wants." He stopped pacing and looked at me like I'd slapped him. "That's my mother you're talking about, and I'm your wife. I'm the one who just spent 14 hours pushing your child out of my body." But apparently, that doesn't count for much. The baby made a small sound against my chest and I adjusted him gently, my hands shaking. Jenna came and sat on the edge of the bed next to me. "Breathe," she said quietly. "You just did something incredible. Don't let them take this moment from you." Patricia was still on her phone coordinating with the front desk when we heard it. Voices in the hallway. Loud voices? One of them was definitely Teresa. "Where is she?" "I know she's here." My son told me. "Room 3B, ma'am, you need to leave. This is a private facility and you're not on the visitor list. I'm her mother-in-law. I have a right to meet my grandson. You don't have any rights here. You need to leave now or I'm calling the police." The commotion was getting closer. I could hear Teresa's voice getting higher, more shrill. Dean moved toward the door like he was going to go out there and I said his name sharply. "Don't you dare. Callie, she's my mom and you chose her over me today. So sit down and be quiet or leave." He stood there frozen while the argument in the hallway escalated. Patricia opened the door just enough to slip out, and I heard her authoritative voice join the mix. "Ma'am, I'm the midwife on duty, and I'm telling you that the patient does not want visitors. You need to leave immediately. I want to see my grandson. This is ridiculous. Callie is being completely unreasonable. The patient's wishes are the only thing that matters here. If you don't leave, I'm calling the police right now." There was more back and forth, but I stopped listening. I was looking down at my son's face. This tiny person who was only 2 hours old and already at the center of a family war he didn't ask to be part of. His eyes were closed, his little fist curled up near his mouth. He had Dean's nose, my chin. He was absolutely perfect, and I felt this fierce protective rage building in my chest. Nobody was going to bulldoze their way into his life. Not Teresa. Not anyone. Jenna squeezed my hand. "You okay?" "No, but I will be." Patricia came back in after about 10 minutes. She looked tired. They left. Security escorted them out. "Teresa's threatening to call a lawyer, but she doesn't have a case. Patient rights are very clear. Thank you." She nodded and glanced at Dean, who was sitting in the corner chair looking miserable. Then she looked back at me. "You did great today, Callie. All of this other stuff will work itself out. Right now, just focus on you and your baby." After she left, the room was quiet except for the sound of machines beeping softly and my son's tiny breaths. Dean finally spoke. "I'm sorry I didn't look at him." "Are you really? Or are you sorry that it blew up in your face?" "Both, I guess. At least that was honest." I adjusted the baby's blanket and tried to process everything that had just happened in the span of 20 minutes. My phone was still going off with notifications. I glanced at the screen. Teresa had updated her Facebook post. Apparently, I was now a manipulative, controlling person who was keeping her grandson from her. The comment section was filling up with people taking sides. "She's posting about this," I told Jenna. She leaned over to look. "Oh wow, that's a lot of crazy in one post." Dean stood up. "I should call her. Try to calm her down. You should sit there and think about why you told her where we were after I specifically planned everything to avoid this exact situation." He sat back down. The next few hours were a blur. They moved us to a different room just to be safe. The staff kept checking on me, making sure I was okay, that nobody had gotten past security. I tried to breastfeed for the first time and it was harder than I expected. The baby was fussy. I was exhausted. My body hurt everywhere, and Dean sat in the corner on his phone, presumably dealing with his family's meltdown. Around midnight, Jenna finally headed home. She had to work in the morning but promised to come back tomorrow. After she left, it was just me, Dean, and the baby in this quiet room with dim lights. The baby was sleeping in the bassinet next to my bed. Dean was still in the chair, but now he'd moved closer. "Can we talk?" he asked. "I'm tired, I know. But I need you to understand why I told her." "I already understand. Your mom threw a tantrum and you caved because that's what you always do." He flinched. "That's not fair, isn't it? Dean, how many times have I asked you to set boundaries with her? How many times has she overstepped and you just said, that's how she is? She means well." I laughed, but it came out bitter. "She posted our private medical information on Facebook. She announced to hundreds of people that she was going to be in the delivery room without asking me first. She showed up at the wrong hospital with decorations and got escorted out by security. And when you finally told her where we actually were, she tried to force her way into my recovery room. That's not meaning well. That's being controlling. He didn't have an answer for that. We sat there in silence for a while. The baby made small sounds in his sleep. I watched his chest rise and fall and felt that fierce protection again. I need you to choose, I said finally. What? I need you to choose. Me and our son or your mother's feelings, because I'm not doing this for the next 18 years. I'm not raising our kid in an environment where Teresa thinks she can override every decision I make because she's grandma. You're asking me to choose between my wife and my mother. I'm asking you to be a husband and a father first. Your mom will always be your mom. But I'm supposed to be your partner and it doesn't feel like it right now. Dean leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I don't know how to fix this. You start by telling her the truth, that you gave her our location without my permission, that it was wrong, and that it won't happen again. You tell her that she needs to respect my boundaries as your wife and as this baby's mother. And you back me up when she pushes back because she will. And if she doesn't accept that, then she doesn't get access until she does. It's that simple. He looked at me like I'd suggested cutting off his arm. You want me to keep my mother away from her grandson? I want you to protect your family. If that means enforcing boundaries with your mother, then yes. We didn't talk much after that. Dean eventually fell asleep in the chair, and I lay there in the hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if my marriage was going to survive this. The baby woke up around 3 a.m. crying, and I fed him again. This time it went a little better. He latched on, and I felt this overwhelming surge of love mixed with terror. How was I supposed to protect this tiny person from everything, including his own grandmother? The next morning, Patricia came in to check on me. Everything looked good. I could probably go home that afternoon if I wanted. Home. Back to the house I shared with Dean. The house that was 30 minutes from Teresa's place. I hadn't even thought about what would happen when we left the hospital. Dean woke up when the breakfast cart rattled by in the hallway. He looked terrible, his hair sticking up, dark circles under his eyes. He checked his phone and his face went pale. What? I asked my mom. She's in the ER, my stomach dropped. What happened? She's saying chest pains. My dad took her in around 5 this morning. Is she okay? He was reading texts rapidly. They're running tests. He looked up at me and I could see the accusation there even though he didn't say it. This is stress. From yesterday. Or it's an actual medical issue that has nothing to do with me not letting her crash my delivery. We stared at each other across the room. The baby started fussing and I picked him up, bouncing him gently. I need to go see her, Dean said. Okay, will you come? No, Callie Dean, I just gave birth. I'm not getting dressed and driving to the hospital to comfort your mother because she's upset that she didn't get her way. If it's serious, then I'm sorry and I hope she's okay. But I'm not responsible for her stress levels. She's going to think you don't care. She's going to think whatever she wants regardless of what I do. He grabbed his jacket. I'll be back in a few hours. After he left, I sat there holding my son and feeling absolutely alone. This should have been one of the happiest times of my life. Instead, I was sitting in a hospital room by myself while my husband ran to comfort his mother, who'd spent the last 24 hours making my life hell. Jenna called around 10. How are you holding up? I told her about Teresa's ER visit. She was quiet for a minute. That's convenient timing. That's what I thought, but I can't say that. What if it's real? Then it's real and they'll treat her. But Callie, you know Teresa, is this the first time she's had a medical emergency, right, when she's not getting attention? I thought about it. Actually, no. When Dean and I got engaged, Teresa had terrible migraines the whole week before the wedding. When his brother moved out of state, she had a dizzy spell and had to be hospitalized. When Dean got his promotion last year, she fell and twisted her ankle. It's a pattern, Jenna said gently. I don't want to be the person who assumes the worst. You're not assuming the worst. You're recognizing behavior. There's a difference. After we hung up, I Googled personality disorders and mothers-in-law. Spent about an hour going down that rabbit hole. A lot of what I read sounded familiar. The need for control, the inability to respect boundaries, the dramatics when she didn't get her way, the triangulation between Dean and me. Dean came back around 2. He looked exhausted. How is she? I asked. They're keeping her overnight for observation. Her heart enzymes are slightly elevated, but they don't think it's a heart attack. Probably anxiety related. I'm glad she's okay. He sat down heavily in the chair. She wants to see the baby, Dean, just for a few minutes. My dad's with her and she's calmed down a lot. She says she's sorry for yesterday. No, Callie, she's in the hospital, and I'm recovering from giving birth. The answer is still no. His jaw tightened. You're being cruel. I'm being a mother. Our son is 2 days old and doesn't need to be dragged to a hospital to visit someone who tried to force her way into my recovery room yesterday. She's his grandmother. She's someone who can't respect basic boundaries. When she shows me that she understands what she did wrong, then we can talk about visits. But not before. Dean stood up. I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're asking me to. We discharged that afternoon. Patricia gave me a hug and told me to call if I needed anything. The drive home was silent. Dean focused on the road while I sat in the back next to the car seat watching my son sleep. He looked so small, strapped into that seat, his head tilted to one side. When we pulled into the driveway, I saw something that made my blood run cold. Teresa's car was parked on the street. "She's here," I said. Dean looked in the rearview mirror. His expression was unreadable. "Did you tell her we were coming home?" "No, she must have guessed. We need to leave. Now, Callie, we can't keep avoiding her. Watch me." But it was too late. Teresa had seen us. She was getting out of her car, moving faster than someone who'd been in the ER overnight should probably move. She was wearing normal clothes, not a hospital gown. Her hair was done. She had a gift bag in her hand. Dean got out of the car first. "Mom, what are you doing here?" "I wanted to see my grandson." She was already crying. "I'm sorry about yesterday. I got carried away. But I'm his grandmother, and I have a right to meet him." I unbuckled the car seat and lifted it out, holding it against my chest like a shield. Teresa moved toward me and I stepped back. "Don't," I said. She stopped, her face crumpling. "Callie, please. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Can't we move past this? You posted my private medical information on Facebook. You tried to force your way into my recovery room. You announced plans for my birth without asking me. And when you didn't get your way, you ended up in the ER, which I'm sure was very convenient timing." Her expression shifted from sad to angry in a heartbeat. "How dare you? I have a heart condition. Do you? Because the doctor said it was anxiety. I could have had a heart attack and you wouldn't have even cared. You're right. I wouldn't have. Because you brought it on yourself." Dean moved between us. "Callie, that's enough." I looked at my husband standing there, physically placing himself between me and his mother, and something inside me broke. "Get out of my way." "Cal, no. Get out of my way or get out of my life. Choose." The street was quiet except for the sound of Teresa crying. Dean looked at me, then at his mother, then back at me. And then he stepped aside. I walked past him, past Teresa, up to the front door. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely get the key in the lock. Behind me, I could hear Teresa begging Dean to do something, to make me see reason. I got the door open and carried the car seat inside, kicking the door shut behind me. I set the baby down in the living room and sank onto the couch. My whole body was trembling. Through the window, I could see Dean and Teresa in the driveway. She was gesturing wildly. He had his head down. My phone started ringing. It was Dean's dad, Martin, I answered. "Hello, Callie, what's going on?" "Teresa says you won't let her see the baby." "That's correct. She's his grandmother." "She has rights." "No, she doesn't. Grandparents don't have legal rights to see their grandchildren unless there's a custody case, which there isn't. You're being unreasonable. I'm being protective. Your wife violated my privacy, my boundaries, and my trust. Until she can respect basic human decency, she doesn't get access to my son. This is ridiculous. You're tearing this family apart. Your wife did that when she decided her feelings were more important than mine." I hung up, blocked his number. Then I blocked Teresa's number too, and her sister's number, and anyone else in Dean's family who might try to guilt me. Dean came inside about 10 minutes later. He looked defeated. "She's gone," he said. "Good. Callie, we need to talk about this." "What's there to talk about?" "You picked her over me again. Right there in the driveway." "I didn't pick anyone. I was trying to de-escalate. You stepped between us. You physically placed yourself as a barrier between your wife and your mother." "That's picking a side." He ran his hands through his hair. "I don't know what you want from me. I want you to be on my team. That's it. That's all I've ever wanted." The baby started crying and I went to get him, my body protesting every movement. I'd torn during delivery and sitting down hurt. Standing up hurt. Everything hurt. I picked up my son and held him against my chest, feeling his warmth. Dean watched us from across the room. "I'll talk to her. Set some boundaries. Know what? You'll talk to her and she'll cry and you'll feel guilty and we'll be right back here in a week. I'm done with that cycle. So what do you want me to do?" "I want you to move out." The words hung in the air between us. Dean's face went white. "You're kicking me out." "I'm asking you to give me space to figure out if I want to stay married to someone who won't protect me or our son." His voice cracked. "Callie, please. Don't do this. You did this. Every time you chose your mom over me, you did this. Every time you told me I was overreacting, you did this. I can't trust you anymore. Where am I supposed to go? Your mom's house seems appropriate." He looked at me like I'd stabbed him. The baby was still crying and I started rocking him, whispering soft sounds. Dean stood there for another minute, then turned and walked up the stairs. I heard him moving around in our bedroom, opening drawers, the closet door sliding. I fed the baby while Dean packed. He came down about an hour later with 2 duffel bags. His eyes were red. "I love you," he said. "Both of you, then prove it." He left without another word. I sat in the quiet house holding my son and cried for the first time since this whole nightmare started. Not pretty crying either. The ugly kind where you can't breathe and your face hurts and you feel like you might never stop, but I did stop because my son needed me. So I wiped my face and changed his diaper and laid down with him on the couch, both of us exhausted. That was 3 days ago. Since then, Dean's been calling and texting. I haven't answered. Teresa's been posting on Facebook about how I'm keeping her grandson from her, spinning this whole narrative where she's the victim. People are taking sides. Some of our friends have reached out asking what really happened. Others have just stopped talking to me altogether. Jenna's been coming over every day, bringing food, helping with the baby, just sitting with me when I need someone. My mom flew in yesterday from Arizona. She took one look at me and hugged me so hard I thought I might break. She doesn't say much, just helps. Does laundry. Makes sure I eat. Holds the baby so I can shower. This morning I got a letter. Official-looking envelope. Teresa had actually gone to a lawyer about grandparent rights. The letter said she was filing for visitation. My mom read it over my shoulder and said 4 words: get your own lawyer. So that's what I'm doing. I have a consultation tomorrow with a family law attorney. I'm documenting everything. The Facebook posts, the texts, the timeline of events, everything. Dean showed up this afternoon while my mom was here. She answered the door and I heard her voice, firm and cold. She doesn't want to see you. I'm his father. I have a right. Then you should have thought about that before you chose your mother over your wife. Dean pushed past her and came into the living room where I was feeding the baby. He stopped when he saw me. You look tired, he said. I am tired. Can we talk? Say what you need to say. He sat down on the edge of the chair, not quite comfortable. I've been staying at my buddy Tyler's place. Not my mom's. Okay, she's upset that I'm not staying with her. Says I'm choosing you over family, aren't you? He looked up. I guess I am, little late for that, I know. But I'm trying. I told her this morning that she crossed a line. That she needs to apologize to you and mean it. That if she files for grandparent rights, I won't support her. What did she say? She said I was betraying her. That you've poisoned me against my own mother. Classic Teresa. Dean leaned forward. Callie, I know I messed up, but I'm trying to fix it. I want to come home. I don't know if that's possible. Because of what happened at the hospital? Because of everything that led up to what happened at the hospital. This has been building for years, Dean. Every time you defended her. Every time you told me to just let it go. Every time you made me feel like I was the problem for having boundaries. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said something I didn't expect. You're right. I looked up from the baby. What? You're right. I've been enabling her. I've been putting her feelings before yours. And I don't have a good excuse except that it's what I've always done and I didn't know how to stop. So why now? Because I almost lost you. Because I'm sitting in Tyler's guest room at night and I can't sleep because my son is here and I'm there. Because I saw your face in that hospital room when you told me to choose, and I realized I've been choosing wrong for years. The baby finished eating and I lifted him to my shoulder, patting his back. Dean watched us. Can I hold him? He asked quietly. I hesitated, then nodded. Dean came over and I carefully transferred our son to his arms. He held him so gently, looking down at this tiny person with this expression of pure wonder. I named him, I said. You did? Had to put something on the birth certificate. I picked Julian. Dean smiled. That was on our list. I know. He's perfect, Dean whispered. Yeah, he is. We sat there in silence, just watching Julian sleep in his father's arms. My mom appeared in the doorway with tea and stopped when she saw us. She caught my eye and I gave her a small nod. She disappeared back into the kitchen. Dean finally spoke again. What do I need to do? To fix this therapy? Real therapy? Individual for you to work on setting boundaries with your mother. Couples therapy for us? Okay. And your mom doesn't see Julian until she genuinely apologizes. Not a fake apology where she says sorry, but a real one where she takes responsibility for her actions. What if she won't? Then she doesn't see him. Dean looked at me. You're serious. Completely. I'm not raising our son around someone who thinks they can bulldoze their way through life and throw tantrums when they don't get what they want. He deserves better than that. What about the grandparent rights thing? I'm getting a lawyer. If she wants to go that route, we'll fight it. And if we have to air all her dirty laundry in court to protect our son, then that's what we'll do. Dean nodded slowly. I'll call her lawyer and tell them to back off. You will? Yeah, this is crazy. She doesn't have a case anyway. Julian's got 2 parents who are capable of making decisions for him. She's just trying to control the situation like always. Progress. I'm sorry, Callie. For all of it. I should have protected you. I should have stood up to her years ago. You should have. I know. And I'm gonna do better. Starting now, we'll see. He handed Julian back to me carefully. Can I come back? Not yet, but maybe. If you follow through on the therapy, if you really set boundaries with Teresa, if you show me that you're choosing us. He nodded, kissed Julian's forehead, kissed mine. Then he left. My mom came back in after he was gone. How do you feel? Exhausted, confused, maybe a little hopeful? That's something. That night, Teresa called. I'd forgotten to block her from the house phone. My mom answered she's not available. Put Callie on the phone. I need to speak with her. She doesn't want to talk to you. I'm trying to apologize. Then you can send a letter. Teresa's voice rose. This is ridiculous. She's keeping my grandson from me. Your grandson has a mother who's setting healthy boundaries. If you can't respect that, then you don't get access. Simple as that. You can't keep me from him forever. Actually, we can. And if you keep harassing us, we'll get a restraining order. My mom hung up. Then she unplugged the house phone from the wall. We sat on the couch that night, my mom holding Julian while I ate actual food for the first time in days. She'd made lasagna, my favorite from childhood. Between bites, I cried again. Not the ugly crying from before, just tears that wouldn't stop coming. You're doing the right thing, my mom said. Then why does it feel so hard? Because the right thing usually is. The next morning, I had my consultation with the lawyer. Her name was Naomi, and she specialized in family law. She listened to everything, taking notes, asking questions. When I finished, she sat back in her chair. You have a strong case for maintaining your boundaries. Grandparents' rights are very limited in this state. They'd need to prove that denying them access would harm the child, which is nearly impossible with an infant who has two capable parents. What about the Facebook posts? Document everything. Screenshots with dates. If she's posting private medical information or making defamatory statements, we can potentially pursue harassment charges. Dean's trying to make things right. That's good. If both parents are on the same page about boundaries, Teresa doesn't have a leg to stand on. I felt some of the tension leave my shoulders. Naomi continued. However, I should warn you that these cases can get ugly. If Teresa is as controlling as you're describing, she may escalate before she backs down. Escalate how? Welfare checks, anonymous CPS calls, more social media campaigns. I've seen it all. I felt sick. Would CPS take that seriously? Probably not. If there's no actual evidence of neglect or abuse to deal with, just be aware it might happen. I left the lawyer's office feeling both relieved and terrified. My mom was waiting in the car with Julian. How'd it go? Good, I think. But she warned me Teresa might get worse before she gets better. My mom's jaw tightened. Let her try. That night, Dean texted asking if he could come by tomorrow. I said yes. When he showed up, he had printouts from 3 different therapists. I've already called all of them. This one has an opening next week. She specializes in family systems and boundary issues. Okay, and I found a couples therapist too. If you're willing, I am. He also had something else. A letter from Teresa. She asked me to give this to you. I haven't read it. I opened it carefully. The handwriting was Teresa's, but the tone was different. Dear Callie, I've been doing a lot of thinking since what happened at the hospital. Dean has made it clear that I overstepped, and he's right. I got so caught up in being excited about becoming a grandmother that I didn't stop to think about what you needed. Birth is an intimate medical event, and you had every right to decide who was there. I'm sorry for announcing my plans on Facebook without asking you first. I'm sorry for showing up at the hospital when you specifically didn't want me there. I'm sorry for how I've handled the last few days. I would like the chance to meet Julian, but I understand if you're not ready for that yet. I'm willing to wait until you feel comfortable. I just hope that eventually we can repair our relationship. Sincerely, Teresa. I read it twice. Then looked at Dean. Did you write this for her? No, that's all her. It doesn't sound like her, I know. But I sat with her yesterday and told her exactly what needed to be in the letter. No excuses, no buts. Just ownership of what she did wrong. I folded the letter and set it aside. It's a start, just a start. Dean, she's been boundary stomping for years. One letter doesn't undo all of that. I need to see sustained change. Fair enough. We talked for a while about the therapy plans, about how to co-parent while living separately, about what boundaries with Teresa would look like going forward. It was the most productive conversation we'd had in months. Before he left, Dean held Julian again. He looked at me over our son's head. I'm going to prove to you that I can do this, that I can be the husband and father you both deserve. I hope so. After he left, I read Teresa's letter again. Part of me wanted to believe it was genuine, but part of me was waiting for the other shoe to drop. It dropped 2 days later. I was changing Julian's diaper when my doorbell rang. My mom answered it and I heard her voice go sharp. You need to leave. Is Callie here? This is a wellness check. I came into the hallway and saw 2 police officers on my doorstep. My stomach dropped. I'm Callie. Ma'am, we received a report that there might be a newborn in distress at this address. There's not. My son is fine. Would you mind if we took a look? I wanted to tell them to get a warrant, but I also didn't want to make things worse. I stepped aside and let them in. They glanced around the living room. Saw Julian on the changing table, clean diaper half on, looking perfectly healthy. Saw the stacks of baby supplies, the organized diaper station, the clean bottles. Everything looks fine here, one officer said. Can I ask who called this in? It was anonymous, but I knew. We all knew. After they left, my mom's face was red with rage. She did this. Teresa did this. We don't know that for sure. Callie. It was less than 48 hours after she sent that apology letter. That's not a coincidence. I called Naomi immediately. She was furious. That's harassment. If it happens again, we're filing for a restraining order. Document everything. The officers' names, badge numbers, time of visit, all of it. I texted Dean. Your mom called CPS on us. His response came back fast. What, are you sure? Anonymous wellness check. 2 cops just left. Timing seems pretty convenient after that apology letter. He called instead of texting. His voice was shaking with either anger or disbelief. Maybe both. I'm going over there right now. Don't. It's just going to blow up. Callie, if she did this, that's not okay. I know it's not okay. But confronting her while you're angry isn't going to help anything. But he'd already hung up. About an hour later, my phone rang again. Dean's father. You need to stop making accusations. Teresa did not call CPS. She's heartbroken that you would even think that. It was an anonymous call less than 2 days after she sent a fake apology. Do the math, Martin. That apology was genuine, was it? Because this is exactly the kind of thing someone does when they're trying to manipulate a situation. You're paranoid, and you're enablers. I hung up, blocked his number again. Dean came over that night. He looked wrecked. I confronted her. She denied it. Said she would never do something like that. Do you believe her? He hesitated. I want to. That's not the same thing. I know. The next week was quiet. Too quiet. I kept waiting for the next crisis, but nothing came. Dean came by every day to see Julian. He'd started therapy and said it was helping him see how much he'd been conditioned to prioritize his mother's emotions over everyone else's. Our couple's therapy started too. The therapist, Rachel, didn't pull punches. She straight up told Dean that he'd been participating in emotional abuse by allowing his mother to violate my boundaries repeatedly and then making me feel like I was the problem for being upset about it. That was hard to hear, Dean said in the session. But it's true, Rachel replied. And until you can fully acknowledge that, Callie's not going to feel safe enough to let you back in. He nodded slowly. I get that now. Progress. Slow progress. But progress. Julian was 3 weeks old when Teresa tried again. This time it wasn't cops. It was a social media post that included a photo of our house with the caption, "My grandson is being kept in this house by a woman having a mental breakdown. I'm heartbroken and terrified for his safety." The post got shared hundreds of times before I even knew about it. Friends started sending me screenshots. Jenna called furious. She's actually insane. Naomi filed for an emergency restraining order that afternoon. The hearing was scheduled for the end of the week. Dean was subpoenaed to testify. The day of the hearing, I dressed carefully. Professional but not cold. I wanted to look like a reasonable person, not the unhinged new mother Teresa was painting me as. My mom stayed home with Julian. Dean met me outside the courthouse. I'm testifying on your behalf, he said. Just so you know, Teresa's lawyer tried to paint me as vindictive, as someone using my child as a weapon. But then Naomi presented evidence. The Facebook posts, the documented harassment, the wellness check that happened right after the apology letter, the timeline of escalating behavior. Dean's testimony was what sealed it. He sat up there and calmly explained how his mother had been boundary violating for years, how he'd enabled it, how she'd posted private medical information without consent, how the timing of the CPS call was too convenient. Teresa's face went from confident to panicked as the hearing progressed. Her lawyer tried to argue that she was just a grandmother who wanted to meet her grandchild, but the judge wasn't buying it. The restraining order was granted. Teresa had to stay 500 feet away from me, my home, and Julian. She could have supervised contact with the baby once a month at a neutral location, but only if I agreed to it. She's violated the order twice already. Once by driving past my house slowly and parking across the street. Once by having her sister call me from an unknown number to tell me I was tearing the family apart. Both violations were documented and reported. Now she's looking at potential jail time if she does it again. But here's the thing, nobody tells you about setting boundaries with toxic people. It doesn't feel good, even when you're right. Even when you're protecting yourself and your child. It still feels like loss. Dean moved back in last week. We're taking it slow. Separate bedrooms, lots of therapy, but he's showing up. He's setting boundaries. When his father called to guilt him about the restraining order, Dean told him calmly that if he couldn't respect our decisions, he wouldn't have access to Julian either. Martin backed off. My mom flew back to Arizona yesterday. Before she left, she hugged me tight and said, "You did good, baby. You protected your son. Julian's asleep in his bassinet right now. He's almost 2 months old. He'll never remember any of this drama. He'll just grow up in a house where boundaries are respected, where his mother's voice matters, where his father knows how to choose his family over toxic dynamics." Teresa keeps posting on Facebook. The narrative changes depending on her mood. Sometimes I'm the villain. Sometimes she's the victim. Sometimes she's the misunderstood grandmother just trying to love her grandson. People who don't know the full story probably believe her, but the people who matter know the truth, and that's enough. Last night, Dean and I were both up with Julian at 3 a.m. He was having a fussy night and wouldn't settle. We were walking him around the living room, taking turns, when Dean said something. "Thank you? For what?" "For not giving up on us. For giving me a chance to be better. You're doing the work. That's what matters." He looked down at Julian in his arms. I don't want him to grow up the way I did. Always walking on eggshells. Always managing someone else's emotions. He won't. Because we're breaking that cycle, and we are. Day by day. Boundary by boundary. It's not perfect. Some days I'm still angry about everything that happened. Some days I wonder if I should have just left instead of trying to make it work. Some days Dean backslides and I have to remind him firmly that no, we're not bending on this boundary even if it makes his mother cry. But mostly, we're building something new. Something healthier. Something worth protecting. Teresa sent another letter last week. This one was longer, more detailed. She talked about her own childhood, about how her mother had been cold and distant, about how she'd promised herself she'd be different. She talked about how terrified she was of losing her connection to Dean. She talked about how she realized too late that in trying to hold on too tight, she'd pushed everyone away. She ended by saying she was in therapy too, that she was working on herself, that she hoped someday we could find a way to have a relationship, even if it looked different than what she'd imagined. I haven't responded yet. Maybe I will eventually. Or maybe not. I'm still deciding. But I'm learning that I don't owe anyone my forgiveness on their timeline. I don't owe anyone access to my son just because they're family. I don't owe anyone my discomfort to make them feel better. I owe my son a safe, healthy environment. I owe myself respect and boundaries. And I owe Dean the chance to prove he can be the partner I need. Everything else is negotiable. It's been a long, exhausting journey from that hospital room where I heard Jenna say, she's 20 minutes out, to now. But I'm still standing. Julian's thriving. Dean's learning. And Teresa? She's exactly where she put herself. And honestly, that feels like the right ending to this part of the story.